Hi, we are still in step 4 of the writing process. We are in revising and editing, and right now we're looking at 4 methods for adding variety to our sentences to avoid becoming monotonous. And in this video we're going to look at the second of these methods, which is called subordination, or adding a dependent thought. So when we combine a simple sentence and a dependent thought, we call this subordination. A dependent thought is a fragment. It's not a sentence on its own. It cannot stand on its own. It is dependent on more information before it can make sense. Here's an example so you can see what I'm talking about. Take this, I don't want to call it a sentence. It's a fragment, but here it is. Although I stopped using my sprinklers, there's not enough information here. If you were to say this to a friend, if you were to walk up to a friend on the street and say, although I stopped using my sprinklers, they would wait for you to complete the thought. And that's why we say that this is dependent, because it is dependent on further information. Now, I want to show you something interesting, though, about this type of fragment. What happens when we remove the word although? What we're left with is, I stopped using my sprinklers. Suddenly, we have a complete thought. We have a complete sentence. If a friend says to you, I stopped using my sprinklers, that is a complete thought. They're not left hanging. And that's because although is what we call a dependent word. And a dependent word, when you place a dependent word in front of a simple sentence, we get a fragment. And that particular kind of fragment is called a dependent thought. I have a list here of the most common dependent words. I have put this list as a handout in this module. You should look over these words so that you can easily spot dependent words, and you can easily identify dependent thoughts when they occur. So subordination, again, is when we combine a dependent thought with a complete sentence, and we usually use a comma to do this. Let's take our sprinkler example one step further. Although I stopped using my sprinklers, my water bill was still very high. So now we have what we call a complex sentence. Although I stopped using my sprinklers is a dependent thought. My water bill was still very high is a complete sentence. That sentence would stand alone by itself just fine. When we put them together with a comma, they form a complex sentence. So in the next video, we're going to take a look at some more examples of subordination.